All right, let's talk about linear pairs and vertical angles. So now we're going to start learning angle pair relationships. So remember, a linear pair, two angles on the same line that share a side and a vertex. So what's that look like? If we have a line and it's split up into two angles, we have angle 1 and angle 2. So there's our linear pair. Now, what do we know about a linear pair? What do we know about a straight line? A straight line adds to 180. So if I draw in that half circle right here, I know that's 180, which would mean that angle 1 plus angle 2 would add to be 180. What's that definition? So these are always supplementary. Now, vertical angles, I like to think of them as being across from each other, or they share a vertex, which is just the point where the two sides come together. So the easiest way to recognize supplementary angles is to look for an X. Anytime that you have an X, you're going to have supplementary angles. Now, the supplementary angles are the ones that are across from each other. So if I call this 1, 2, 3, and 4, which ones are across from each other? We would have these vertical angles right here. And then we would also have angle 2 and angle 4 are vertical angles. Now, what do you know about vertical angles? Vertical angles are congruent, or they're equal. So when you're solving with vertical angles, you're going to be setting them equal to each other. So let's look at this first example. This first example, we have an X and we're given one angle. So let's find the other angles. So the first thing that I jump to is, well, I'm given this 125. And I see that there's a vertical angle. Who's across from him? Angle 2. Which means those are vertical angles, which means they're the same measure. Now I also see lovely straight lines. So here's one straight line, and I know a straight line is 180 degrees, which means angle 1 plus 125 is going to be 180. So I can subtract that 125 over to be left with 55 degrees for angle 1. Now what else do I notice? Angle 1 is across the street from angle 3. It's across from it, which means it's vertical. And I know vertical angles are equal, so angle 3 would also be 55. Now you can also sometimes be solving with x's involved. So on this one, what I have to figure out is it linear pair or are they vertical? Well, these look like they're on a straight line. Anytime that I can draw my half circle, I have a linear pair or supplementary angles. What does that mean? That means they add to be 180 degrees. So I'm going to solve by subtracting 106 to both sides to get 2x equals 74. I'm going to divide each side by 2 to get x equals 37. Now remember, that is x, not the actual angle. If I needed the actual angle, I would plug it in for x to get 74. Go ahead and pause the video and try this one. So this one, are they a linear pair or are they vertical? Well, I can't draw my half circle, and I see that x, which means they're across the street from each other. If they're across from each other, they're vertical, which means they are congruent or equal. So I'm going to set these equal to each other and then solve. Get your x's on one side, numbers on the other. So I have 2x equals 28, divide, and x is 14. If you needed to figure out the actual angle, you can plug it in for either x and it'll give you the angle. Both of these should come out to be exactly the same.